So, have you ever hit a wall in your training? I mean, a real wall. You're doing everything right. You're showing up, you're working hard, tracking your progress, but you're just not getting stronger. Worse, you might even be getting weaker. Okay, let's get into this because if you've ever felt that frustration, this is for you. I was absolutely crushed. My pull ups didn't just stall, they actually went backwards. I went from hitting 15 reps, feeling pretty good about it, down to a struggling 12. And get this was after 6 months of training 6 days a week with what I thought was perfect textbook form. I was doing everything the so called experts tell you to do, and I was getting weaker. I seriously thought I'd hit my genetic ceiling. Turns out, I was just making 5 incredibly common mistakes. Yeah, I was caught in this death spiral of 5 training errors that were all feeding into each other. And the craziest part, the very first mistake was breaking a rule that every single coach out there just screams at you to follow. The day I stopped obsessing over this one thing, my strength it exploded. Okay, mistake number 1, the perfect form trap. You know the one. I believed that any little breakdown in form meant I was risking injury or just racking up junk reps. So, the second my form started to look anything less than perfect, I just stopped the set. I thought I was protecting my technique, but what I was really doing was killing my progress. Look, I was stuck in the trap you see on the left, just collecting a bunch of pretty reps that looked great on camera but did absolutely nothing for my strength. But the reality, the part that actually builds muscle, that's on the right. True adaptation, real growth, it happens in those last 2 or 3 ugly reps. You know, the ones where you're grinding, your speed slows way down, and your body is literally shaking. I was leaving 3, maybe 4 of those crucial growth reps on the table every single set. So this just forced a complete shift in how I thought about training. It wasn't about perfect reps anymore. It was about effective reps. It's about finding that intensity you need to signal to your body, hey, you need to get stronger. And to measure that, you have to understand this one crucial concept. And that concept is RIR, or reps in reserve. It's actually really simple. It's just how many more reps you could have done before hitting total absolute failure. So 0 RIR is failure. 1 RIR means you had 1 good rep left in the tank. I thought I was training hard, at a 2 RIR, but when I was honest with myself, I was actually closer to a 5. I was stopping way, way too early. This chart right here shows the sweet spot. All the research confirms that the most effective range for muscle growth is right here, in that 1 to 3 RIR zone. So here's the bottom line. If your rep speed isn't slowing down involuntarily on those last few reps, you are simply not training hard enough to trigger growth, period. But fixing my obsession with intensity, well, that just exposed the next set of problems. I was a total victim of what I call the volume illusion. This belief that just doing more work automatically leads to more progress. And this is where the other 4 mistakes came right into play, just feeding off each other. All right, let's break them down quick. First, I was training way too often, 6 days a week, which left me in this constant state of fatigue. Second, because I was always tired and rushing, I was taking these super short rest periods, which just tanked my intensity. Third, I was program hopping like crazy, never giving my nervous system a chance to actually adapt to a movement. And finally, I was doing way too much volume, just piling on mediocre sets that did nothing. Let's look a little closer at a couple of these. Just look at the difference here. With my short 90-second rests, I was getting 36 total reps. And you can see my performance just falls off a cliff with each set. But by simply extending my rest to 3 minutes, I hit 47 total quality reps. That's a 30% jump in productive work just by being a little more patient. And then there was the program hopping. Ugh, I'd see some cool new exercise on social media, get excited, and immediately switch things up, losing all my progress. But the truth is, your nervous system craves consistency. Sticking with the same core movements for at least 8 to 12 weeks is pretty much the only way to build real, measurable strength. So what happened when I fixed all of this? When I finally prioritized intensity over volume and quality over quantity? Well, the breakthrough was almost immediate, and it was staggering. I went from that struggling 12 pull-ups to a solid 18 clean reps. I was actually training less, resting more, and doing fewer exercises. It was a total paradox, but man, it worked. And this chart really just sums up the whole journey. In just 12 weeks of training smarter, not harder, I completely reversed that backward slide and just blew past my old personal best. I wasn't weak. I was just training incredibly inefficiently. So here's your action plan. This is what you need to do. First, chase intensity in that 1 to 3 RIR zone. Don't be afraid of those last ugly reps. Second, cut your frequency to 3 or 4 focus sessions a week. Third, rest longer between your hard sets. Fourth, stick with the same core exercises for at least 2 months. And finally, aim for 4 to 8 truly hard sets per muscle, not 15 mediocre ones. You know, the biggest lesson in all of this is actually really simple. Stop confusing activity with intensity. True progress isn't about how much time you spend in the gym, it's about the quality of the effort you put in. If you want the exact system I use to break this plateau, the author of this method laid it all out in the Calisthenics Playbook. Stop wasting your effort. Let's get strong.